Thank you for making out time to listen to this innovation, wisdom-filled, and life-transforming message from Dr. Joshua Kolawole. He is a Transforming Minds Evangelist with Baltimore College. Our passion is to make you a strategic innovator and help you move from a socialized mind into a transforming mind, a self-transforming mind. Now let's take a deep dive into the message.
I love Baltimore.
Hello, good morning, my dear viewers. It's a treat to be here again. I'm so glad to come with something, a topic that you would love, and I would love you to stay connected to the end. Please do stay connected to the end because you will enjoy it. It is the 8 exciting qualities of high-flying managers, high-flying leaders, high-flying bosses, high-flying mentors, high-flying coaches. It's the 8 exciting qualities that you would need to have. You would need to get as a father in a home, as a mother in a home, so as to become great in 2021 and going forward. If I want to start to explain, just imagine you have a leader, a boss, a master. One thing that comes to mind first is character. And you see this order, I actually didn't arrange the order exactly myself. It was my son who is 7 who just came around and told me, no, daddy, character comes before compassion and compassion comes before competence. And I was wowed because I just thought, okay, a leader must just have these 3 C's statutorily to even be called a boss, a manager, a leader, a father, a coach, a mentor, a pastor, a lead, an head in any system. You must have those 3 solid characters. You must have character. Can people trust you? And then you must be compassionate. Do you care for them? And I mean, do you genuinely care for them? Not because of what you possibly or potentially will get from them. Do you genuinely care for them? Can you go the extra mile for all of them in the team at equal pace? And then competence. Can you help me become better? Can you help me become stronger? And can you help me become wiser? Now, when we have this established 3 baseline that makes someone a boss, a manager, a lead, then we can now talk about the exciting qualities of what make you high flying, what make you go extra, what adds the super above the natural. Yeah, so I would like to use this term, rolling the dice, which I picked from Guy Kawasaki, who was describing Apple products, but I would just use it as an acronym so that you will never forget. I'm sure you remember the Ludo game where you have to roll the dice, rolling the dice. You could already see the features I'm talking about. Great leaders are deep, they are intelligent, they communicate, they customize their team, they are committed to completeness, they are encouraging, enlightening, and empowering. Great leaders create elegant and exciting environment. And great leaders, once there is clarity, they move with speed. They move with speed once they are clear on what to do. To be deep means to have deep disciplined thoughts, words, and action. You see, you won't do so well if you have not learned to discipline your thoughts, your thought pattern, because as a man thinks, so clearly are you. So your thought has to be well disciplined and to stay positive consistently, and that would always lead to the kind of words that will come out of your mouth. You as a leader, as a high quality high flying leader, your words cannot afford to be careless. You can't afford to involve in careless jesting or gisting in the office environment. You must be principled in even the amount of words that proceed out of your mouth. And your action, you cannot afford to be slothful. You need to be seen to be diligent, to be on top of your game. Always, you must prepare adequately for every scenario. You must prepare adequately. Everyone in your team must see you as being deeply disciplined in your thoughts, discipline in your words, and discipline in your action. There must also now be coherence between what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing. And that comes to explain integrity. You're one in your thinking, you're one with your words, and you're one in your action. So that means you live up to expectation, you live up to your word, even when it becomes so difficult to keep going on. You explain, you keep communicating, and you keep explaining with disciplined words. And that is how to link yourself from just general common sense leader to a high flying leader. High flying leaders are passionate, they have energy, and they are inspiring. They carry energy and inspiration. You see, we're in a world where a lot of things are distracting, and they drain people's energy. So they need a leader, they need a boss who will communicate strength, who will communicate strength and might, who will explain to us why we need to do things, how we will get it done, and the strength that is required. And this comes with a lot of inspiration, with a lot of instruction through revelation to keep driving people ahead. So you will need a lot of energy and inspiration. You will need a lot. And then deep leaders are learners. They are learners, they are observers, and they are curious people. And they're also good listeners. So in learning, they are curious to solving problem. You see, deep learners have high curiosity. They learn principles, and they also understand the dramas that come with principles, and they're able to filter through the drama to pick what exactly are the principles. So they observe, and they never allow anything go around them unanalyzed, and they make inferences. However, they may not communicate the inference immediately, but they observe, they analyze, and they infer. And of course, because they analyze, they are also good listeners. They are good listeners, and they listen with their heart. They listen with their heart, and they listen with genuine empathy, with action, and they have a lot of follow up. And you see, they listen with appreciation. They listen with emphasis. They listen for your emphatic stress patterns, the places that are really touching you. They listen comprehensively. So that means I will not hear from one side alone. I have to listen comprehensively from the whole system. You see, everything talks, everything speaks to us. It's only when you have a good eye or a good ear to pick them. The body gesture, the language, the culture even speaks to us. So they listen critically. So that means they critically analyze what you say, how you said it, and how it's been, how what you said has affected what you're doing. Great leaders, great bosses. I've got a couple of them. Great bosses um have faith. They have strong faith. And the tendency for them to move from philosophy to ideology is great. They are always believers. And in this case, statistically, it favors more women than men in this analysis. But the truth about it is that based on the confidence level of men, it has been proven statistically that we misjudge the confidence as an attribute of leadership under faith, which is good. It is excellent to be confident, but confidence does not replace competence. And because the ideology of competence in men seems to be stronger and more outward, it puts men at an advantage of being taught to be competent. So you will need to put an interview process in place to be able to separate competence from confidence. And so faith comes with a lot of outward outburst of something that looks like confidence, where people would explain to you a value like, this is my ideology, this is an ideal I hope to live by or die for, or be known for when I am gone. Philosophy is just the way of thinking about the thinking, the depth of knowledge. So, but however, great leaders, apart from being sound philosophically, knowing how to think, knowing how to learn, knowing how to know, they are also transcended the realm of just general thinking to a deeper dimension of wisdom. And they have held on to a certain belief, and that is the belief they're ready to hold on to, even if death has to come. So, great leaders are people who are transcended from philosophy to ideology. um Great leader also engenders meaning. You see, far beyond everything we do, it is who we are becoming that truly matters. And because of this, the core meaning of what you're doing is the key idea. Why are you doing this? Okay, the first response is because of I need to keep my spirit, soul, and body together. Then you need to ask, why do you need to keep your spirit, soul, and body together? Okay, so you reflect inwardly again. Okay, because I want to be able to execute things as I when I want to. Okay, why do you need to be able to execute things as I when you want to? Okay, because it gives me joy, it gives me peace, it gives me the sustainability, the resilience to keep going. So I need you to understand today that the deepest concern for every man is the inner desire for peace, inner desire for joy, and inner desire for the resilience to keep going, the strength to keep going. So until you rediscover yourself, to keep asking, why am I doing this? To the point where you can sync it with the peace within you, with a certain degree of joy within you, with a certain degree of resilience within you, you will not be able to keep going even when the going gets tough. It is this peace, this joy, this resilience, which is an integration of righteous practice and strength that will actually keep you going when the going gets tough. Because you see, the journey to high flying, the journey to greatness is a journey that is uphill, and it's an active process. It will definitely demand for energy. And so, because death is a function of accomplishment, the higher you want to go, the deeper you would have to drive yourself. The more discipline, the more passion, the more curiosity to learn, the more faith, and the more the deep meaning you will seek to get from life, from what you're doing. Great leaders are intelligent, they are deeply wise, they are innovative. If you look at those bulbs, you would see that great leaders would stand out. They will stand out with the amount of light, the amount of wisdom. They are innovative. They are either disrupting a system, they are sustaining the system, or they bring efficiency into the system. But great leaders are always intelligently wise. And I use the word together because the main essence is transformation. You see, when I join an organization at a $200,000 worth of organization, I want to see the organization move to like $2 million. When I join that should be your mindset. When I join an organization at, okay, we have 14 clinics under our portfolio. I am looking at how do we scale up so that the 14 becomes 44 clinics under our portfolio. Okay, so if we scale up like that, I'm saying, how do we scale up from maybe 300,000 patients, and I'm going into healthcare now, to a point where we'd be able to take care of 1 million patients? Or just think about it in different ways. How do I move from a 5 employee organization to a 50 employee organization? How do I build a system? How do I enlarge capacity? And this will not come without wisdom. This will not come without being deeply innovative. This will not come without transformation orientation. And this is where you need high flying, high quality bosses. Once you see in an organization people who move, who shift a system, spot them. That is a high flyer. That is an high flyer. People who bring ideas that wants to move a system, shift a system, or maybe like 100 membership in a club or in a church or in a program, to how do we expand it into 1,000 membership. You could leverage on technology. You could create a culture of excellence that we retain people and cause people to keep inviting people. You could also create a culture with a strong core value, values that will resonate with people and make people bring more people. These are the things that intelligence would bring, but they are not just common level intelligence. They require you to search deeply, and this is where high flying bosses are different. You need to sit and search deeply, and even in the depth, you need to keep going deeper. So high flying bosses are intelligent, they are wise, they are innovative, they are transformation oriented. You will never catch them off guard with a problem. You will never get them with a problem and they will say, it's not. You need to start immediately. You explain the problem, they start processing in, they start searching, looking for deeper knowledge, deeper way by which things can be done. And until it is solved, their curiosity never ends. And that is what drives the wisdom. That's what drives the innovation. You need to also understand that high flying bosses communicate. They communicate by speaking or by writing, and they are very clear in their intent, in their content, and the impact on the team. And in their intent, they are clear. They are specific. They give measurable instructions, and of course, they are achievable, realistic, and time bound. But they are also visionary. That's what is important, because by the time they speak to you, they speak with clarity. They speak with conciseness, and you see there's a compelling way in which they carry their people along, and that's linked to inspiration, being deeply inspiring, and they manage the intent and the content and the impact of their words well. Look, in terms of content, you need to be clear on what we want to achieve, but because this is just the general realm for everybody, they would also explain the why, and they would analyze the how. How has to be a strategic how, because there can be many ways to get to a place. From A to B, there are many ways to move from A to B. You can decide to travel on a straight line, that's the shortest distance between 2 points. And for one reason or the other, which will be clearly explained in the why and the how, you can decide to go around the circle. You can decide to go using a polynomial curve from a point A to point B. You could you could decide to do you could decide to do a zigzag line from a point A to point B. You can decide to go erratic, but a straight line is definitely the shortest distance. However, you can use whatever method you want based on what is available, the resources, the capacity that is available per time. However, the most interesting thing about high flying boss is that they would always explain to you from the beginning what next. And that is so key. Once you find someone who is futuristic, visionary, compelling, and who is always explaining what next, do not take that person as your enemy. If it's a father in a house, if it's a leader in a system, in fact, the funniest thing about life is the person may not be the exact person leading that system. And that's the law of E.F. Orton by John C. Maxwell. So it might exactly not be the person leading the system, but you must be sensitive and be clear to know who is discussing the what, the why, the how, and the what next. That is the kind of person that wants us to jump from this curve to the next curve. And that is the leader in that system. They communicate. They listen with appreciation, they listen with emphasis. They listen for the emphatic patterns. What is dear to this person? What is this person saying that others are not hearing? That others are not seeing. You can actually see words. What is this person saying comprehensively? What is this person saying critically? You must be a good listener as a high flying boss. You see, we customize and we polarize our team. You don't get it. High flying, high quality bosses, they have a way of customizing their team. They have a way of branding their team. You can imagine a manager of a football club. He has a way of branding his team. Anything you want to do well, you must excel in branding. You must excel in creating an emotional, a competent, and emotional and compassionate, a competent and strength. You must excel at showing great strength, great unity, great connection in your team, great protection for the weak. And you must all be bounded together with strength, and you must look out for one another. So every grade, every high flying boss will go after customizing his team, and you will not mind polarizing your team away from other teams. That is actually the deep seated part of customizing your team, because you don't want your team to get polluted, you don't want them to get infiltrated, you want them to keep being strong and being efficient. And because of that, you will customize and polarize your team. You see, commitment to completeness of task is always dear to the heart of a high flying boss, because an high flying boss is already looking at what next. And because of the idea of what next, he has to complete this what using the fuel of the why, explaining the how, and following them, leading the way in the how, such that the next thing can be started as soon as possible. And look, in life, you will always from a system get an output. An output will lead to an outcome. An outcome will lead to an impact. But the truth about life is, as those cycles keep going, you will be surprised that the impact of 10 years ago may be an output for another outcome 10 years today. And in another 5 years, the impact of that outcome would be a newer impact that you would have to be dealing with. An example, so that I will make it very simple, is that, okay, someone wants to give birth to the president of the United States of America. So you need to give birth to a fully grown man who will now contest for the office of the greatest office on planet Earth. But the first thing is, he has to be involved in a relationship. They have to progress the relationship to a marriage. That's an output. Marriage. Or at least get so close. After the marriage, they need to make love and, of course, get pregnant. Getting pregnant and delivering the child is another outcome of the marriage, and marriage is the output of the relationship. But do not forget that the outcome of the pregnancy is a child. So they've given birth. Now, after giving birth, the child, the son, is not yet the president of the United States. That is the ultimate impact the family wants to make. Okay, so they need the process of time with several series of output, outcomes, and impact. Sending him to school, getting him to excel in whatever he's doing. All those are series of process. So what I'm saying is that tasks are continuous series of activities that you will need to keep engaging in and keep completing. So do not see it like, okay, we have a single project. Once I'm done with this project, the year is over. No, you need to keep thinking of what would be next, what will be next, because integratively, whatever you're doing must be linked to an output. An output sets of outputs must be linked to an outcome. Sets of outcomes must be lead to an impact. Now, do not forget that the process, the quality of the process would also determine the quality of the outcomes, the outputs, the outcomes, and the impact. If you raise the child well, the child will live to become an excellent president, a decent one who will have the heart of a leader. If you truncate the process of leadership for such child, it would become possibly a careless talker, a careless president, a president who doesn't respect the dignity of the nation. And of course, that set of impacts too will automatically become another process-based activity that may actually affect the dignity of that nation, which is another impact on its own. So for those who are into monitoring and evaluation, who understands the series of output, outcome, impact, they understand that things take years, decades, centuries before you even can elucidate exact impact of some political changes, socioeconomic changes that happen today. And you must understand that being committed to completeness of tasks is critical, is key to a leader, to a high-flying leader. You see, great leaders are encouraging. They speak courage, they speak strength. You will never see them in a dull mode. Even when things go so down and they want to communicate with exactitude, they still communicate strength out of weakness. You see, they speak words like, let's become great. It's time to change the lane. It's time to shift the ground. It's time to go and become. After explaining the limitations, the weakness, then they tell you, let's go and explore the boundaries of our limitation. Let's go and break the rules. Let's go and make it happen. Let's go and change the speed, the pace. Let's go and set the line. You understand? They are the ones who speaks with courage. And you see, you have to stay courageous. If you will really go far, you will need a lot of God. Whatever is draining your passion would possibly drain your courage, would drain your strength. And you have to avoid things like that. But great leaders are always encouraging. They are enlightening because they go after knowledge. In their environment, they shed light. They keep explaining the depth, and they keep sharing the light until everyone who cares in that environment listens. They keep shedding the light, shedding the light, shedding the light until everyone around starts catching it by reflection, starts catching it by also understanding. They are men of deeper understanding. They think deeply. And you see, in all you're getting, please get understanding, because understanding will always make the difference. You see, great leaders are empowering. They make sure the environment carries enough energy, because power is actually the rate at which energy is burnt per time. And you see, there is no working system today that does not run on energy, either literally or psychologically. You must run on energy. Every working system needs some bit of charisma, which is the energy part of character. You need some charismaticness in whatever you do. No matter how cool, calm, and collected you are, you still need some energy to drive the system. And because of that, you would either need to recruit charismatic people, which I'm not saying charismatic is the best thing, but I'm just saying technically you will need some energy to drive the system. You see, systems have inertia, just like a car, just like an aircraft. They do not want to move, but you need someone to burn some energy at some rate to make the system move forward. So you need to be encouraging, you need to be enlightening, you need to be empowering if you will be a high flying boss. And you see, you need to create a work environment, a workspace that is elegant and exciting to work. If you do not create a culture of excellence, a beautiful, aesthetic, and friendly system, a system where the languages, the symbols, the values, the norms, and the artifacts, the history in such environment are quite exciting, are quite encouraging, are quite driving. You will have created a lot of barriers to growth. So, high flying boss understands the impact of an elegant and an exciting work environment. And I would tell you the truth, a sound, light, well lit environment can start the exciting journey. Just look at the lightning in your workplace and see how bright it is. Because even the encouragement of the brightness of the light, it's enough. How serene it is, the positioning of flowers, the positioning of the paintings of the walls, exciting. The positioning of the tables, you understand, the work environment, the cleanliness of the floor, the sparkliness of the environment actually excites the heart of man. And so you need to be critical. You need to be critical about your workspace, about your work environment. High flying bosses pay attention to this and make them happen continuously. So, and every of their intervention are friendly. They think about the user. They think about the worker. They think about that junior staff who is going to use that table, use that chair, use that system. And because of that, they take the best decision per time in terms of elegance and excitedness at work, which is so critical. And Brings us to the final feature of an excellent boss is the speed of execution. Look, the speed of your boss or manager is the speed of your team, and that will be the speed of your organization. And if you have a team with multiple manager or a system with multiple bosses and manager, the integration of the speed of every member, every leader in that system is the speed of that system. So when you have eye flying, eye delivering, and you go and get other bosses in other stages of the process, where the speed is lower, except for safety reasons, except for safety or effectiveness reasons, if there is already clarity and a timeliness pattern in that system, if you have any other boss or manager along the line who is trying to limit the speed, the person will reduce the speed of the high flying boss, and it could be frustrating sometimes. However, you need to understand that the current speed in which your organization is running is the integral of the speed of all the bosses and manager in your team. If you have a high flying boss in your team, they will drive your team with excellent speed. You would achieve excellent results. You would be able to change the pace. You will be able to shape the future. You will be able to change culture. And what you would be and what the team would be excellence in the long run. So rolling the dice, uh, you need to be deeply deep. You need to always be conscious. Do not just do things at the surface level. Don't be shallow minded. I'm leaving you with this. Do not be shallow minded. Be deeply intelligent. Be deeply wise. Customize your team. Polarize your team. Polarize. Be committed to completeness of task. Be committed to completeness of tasks. Be committed to completeness of tasks. Pursue encouraging, enlightening, and empowering leadership. Pursue that. Be elegant. Create an exciting work environment. Be friendly. Be genuinely friendly. And do not forget, your speed of execution is critical. And finally, this is Valdemar's College. We sell student success and we give parents joy. We are in the mind transforming business. We are changing culture and we're shaping the future. We're a place of eternal excellence and we are already branded as the joy of many generations. These are two of my excellent students. One had 16 points and one had 15 points. They are both A grade students, and you can see the joy, the deep-seated joy in their faces, and that was the deep-seated joy in their parents' faces too. Valdemars operate the best and most innovative school management system in Nigeria. We have both the online and in-class version of our training. We are the industry standard for access, for quality, and for relevant education. Thank you so much.